That's okay.
I mean, the first clearinghouse question is, everybody came out good?
Yeah, everybody looked really good this morning out of both days, Friday and Saturday. So no physical issues or anything. All 8 runners look great out of the Breeders' Cup.
Now that you've had like 12 hours to reflect on it, to put in perspective, I was impressed yesterday when you say record tying 4 wins. You not only knew that, you knew who Richard Mandela's winners were. You named them off.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I've been a huge fan of, still a huge fan of racing. I'm not just in the business, but I mean, I love racing, and I've kept up with it since I was a young kid, and it's just really growing up. I mean, Breeders' Cup weekend and Kentucky Derby weekend, Preakness, Belmont weekend. Those are highlights that I can look back and think of the tremendous horses and have won those races, and remember almost where I was at watching the races on television or wherever it may be. But no, it was an amazing weekend.
Who's your favorite from not years you're involved in? Who's your favorite Breeders' Cup winner from past years watching all these?
I would have to say, my favorite race would obviously, I think, is the Tisnow Belmont race. I mean, just with all that was going on that year, I was fortunate enough to be there earlier in the card for Unbridled Elaine. I was with Dallas and we flew up for the race, and I think she beat Spain right at the wire. I think it was Spain right at the wire by like a nose, and Pat Day rode her, and it was an unbelievable day. And we actually had to run to the airport, but obviously did end up seeing the race. But that was probably the most memorable race watching. Like, it was just thrilling, So it was an amazing race.
In your mind coming into this weekend, if you were setting a personal over-under on how many races you would win, what would you have?
I mean, I guess realistically, given, these are incredibly hard races to win. Everyone in the business knows that. But I would have said 2 possibly. I mean, we had some horses that were, heavily favored between, obviously, Monomoy was bet down pretty well, and, Aunt Pearl and Nick's Go, they bet pretty heavily. I was a little shocked that he was even favored, but it was just it was just such a great setup for that horse. The speed, the 2 turns, the short stretch, his he loves Keeneland, so I mean it was just a fantastic setup for him, and he responded well.
Does he race again this year?
It's possible.
The Clark maybe, or the Cigar Mile?
I would say the Clark would be a touch quick. That would be back, I believe, in 20 days. So I don't know if that's an option. The Cigar Mile could be an option. We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see if anyone sells tonight too.
Well, I was gonna say, what was the discussion last night with Monomoy Girls owners?
We didn't have one last night. I mean, she's gonna sell later this evening, so I'm sure there's gonna be some phone calls made at some point. So we just actually took her over this morning, loaded her up, took her over, unloaded her, and she looked great out of the race. I'm telling you, she really looked amazing. So we'll see what happens, and I really have no clue what's going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see.
Have you had more conversations with the Godolphin people about where Essential Quality goes for the winner?
Not yet. We're going to ship him back to Churchill tomorrow morning, and we'll probably wrap our heads around it later in the week. But he came out of it great. We'll try to get to the Kentucky Derby. What path we take, still unknown.
You've talked about with Monomoy Girl, just she's one of the only ones who get really nervous watching her run just because of the expectations. How much was yesterday kind of equal parts elation and also equal parts relief just to see her go out there and do what everybody was expecting her to do?
I don't know. It's always different. Yesterday, I don't feel like I was quite as nervous as I have been in some of her races, in her 3 previous races this year, or 2 previous races. I actually missed the Ruffian. I did not go to New York for her Ruffian. But the 2 races, obviously the comeback race, I was very nervous. And then the Churchill race, I think just given it was a grade 1, I was very nervous for that one. Yesterday, maybe not quite as nervous. But once she won, it totally felt like a relief. I don't know why. It's just a lot of pressure with her, and she never lets you down. There's no doubt about it.
Aunt Pearl's, a filly that Liz won over and scouted out at Tattersall's. Can you just talk a little bit about her, from Monomoy Girl to now this latest start, just her kind of sourcing these horses?
Yeah,
with
no
Lauren?
doubt. I mean, from Aunt Pearl to Monomoy Girl to British Idiom to several other horses that she's bought, whether it was auction or privately. I mean, she brought Night Ops into our barn. Warrior's Charge, I believe, was a private purchase. I mean, several horses. I mean, the list goes on. But no, Liz has done a fantastic job of scouting horses and giving us an opportunity to play at the grade stake level and Breeders' Cup Day as well. So I mean, that she works very, very hard. I mean, her, Brad Wasford, the whole elite group, Caitlin Jackson, Jake Mamelo, all of them just extremely dedicated people and love racing and the sales and spend time looking at all the horses. Paul Sharp's also included in that group as well from a standpoint of looking at horses at the auctions, and then obviously he has his farm in Ocala, does a tremendous job breaking them. So it's a fantastic team in place, and that's what you got to have to be successful. It's a very good group of people.
Not only do you have a couple horses now in line for championships, but you yourself also now stand a good chance of getting an outstanding trainer Eclipse Award. Have you let yourself think about what that could be like to be accepting a trophy like that only a couple years removed from you winning your first Grade 1 race?
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. I don't want to say too much about that. I just hopefully it would be unbelievable what happens. I mean, it would be an amazing accomplishment that you don't really even ever. I mean, you think about like maybe someday, right? But it just almost like it would be an amazing accomplishment. It would mean a lot, and we'll see what happens. I don't want to say too much.
We'll talk about Monomoy Girl. We've already talked about this, but Horse of the Year. Kind of make a case for her to be Horse of the Year.
Well, she's done nothing wrong. I mean, there's obviously some other very good horses out there that accomplished a lot this year and yesterday. So, ultimately that's up to the voters. She's and I, maybe, depending on what happens tonight, there's a possibility that, depending on who buys her, what happens, you can maybe see her again this year. I don't know where, and maybe again next year. But I will find out a lot later this evening on what happens, and it's gonna be exciting. It's almost like 2 days of Breeders' Cup, and now we have to go through this with her. So we got a lot ahead of us today.
So are you going back to Churchill and then coming back for the sale?
I am. I'm gonna go over. We have some couple of young horses running today that would like to be there for us. So we'll see how that goes.
So no chance to rest on your laurels.
No doubt. No, we're just gonna keep our head down and keep going. We got to continue on. And I told someone this morning, I said, we got to start preparing for Breeders' Cup 2021.
Yeah. What did you do last night? Anything to celebrate?
No, I went to some friends and family. We went to a Japanese restaurant on Richmond Road, and I was in the bed at 9 o'clock, so and up at 4:30.
Yeah. Just talk about the whole weekend in general. I mean,
it was a lot. I mean, it was like runner after runner, and it's an amazing weekend of racing, and they're amazing cards. So you're glued to the television or screen watching each race. Just being a fan of racing, you just kind of see the outcome of each race. But it was an amazing weekend. Once again, very happy for our staff, our owners, our clients, and the horses. I mean, they showed up and they ran the races, and very proud of them.
yeah. So since you had so many runners, did you just kind of get to like chill and enjoy the races last night? Did you watch all the replays?
I went. It's funny. I went back and looked at charts. I had my program, so I was looking at charts when I got home and kind of going through the program and checking things out. So it was looking some of the Euros where they had prepped, and they were very dominant. They bought a very, very good group of horses. When they come over and when the turf sprint, they started the day off with that. I figured we were in trouble. So they got a very, very good group.
And I got to ask a house question for Ellis Park. Nick's Go, 2-year-old came out of Ellis's 2-year-old program, broke his maiden their first time out, and now they have a Breeders' Cup winner out of that.
Yes,
program.
no, he's a very good horse, and I mean, he's just been so consistent. Training, he's very aggressive. He puts a lot into his training and his works, and he's a really good horse. I mean, I think we just kind of let him roll. I mean, obviously that's what he's like doing this year, is getting to the lead and utilizing his speed and putting him away on the turn and running away from him. But that's one race I did watch last night. I mean, he was geared down late. I mean, he really ran hard, and you know, just very proud of him. He's a really neat horse to be around. He carries so much weight. I mean, obviously he's a colt, but you know, he's not a big horse, but he's stocky, he's stout, he trains, he holds his condition well. He's a very, very nice horse.
So we'll see him next year.
I think it's possible. That's another one that we'll have to come up with. But after talking with Gene Park, the Korean Racing Authority representative, he seemed pretty optimistic that, you know, there was a good shot that we could see him race next year.
Okay.